Hey, Russ Rogers here from the 17 Law Studio, and today I'm so excited to answer your questions. As you know, from now on, most of my podcasts are around answering your questions. So keep them coming. Russ at the17laws.com. I don't typically answer all of them via email. I'll get several in the same category, and then I'll do a video on them. If you look at a lot of my shorts on YouTube, then you'll see a lot of questions answered there as well. So for to not get too far behind, let me just look up here and start answering some of these questions. Now, what's cool about this is it's the holidays, and so these questions are all about the holidays. And people are asking, what about staying healthy during the holidays? Not just healthy physically, not just healthy mentally, but also healthy financially. So I'm going to jump into all three of those this time, and it's not going to be a super long podcast, or video. I think you'll find it interesting. Here's the first question: how can I stay healthy during the holidays? I usually gain a ton of weight and typically just throw caution to the wind until January 1st, and that's where I start my New Year's resolution. So that's the first one. Next one is holidays are so stressful, long travel, going to different houses, all the family dynamics and the drama, you name it. This is so stressful. How can we make it fun again? And here's the last question is, and I know I'm going fast. I'm just paraphrasing these. I never have enough money for Christmas, and with all this inflation, it's only getting worse. It's hard to provide, let alone buying gifts for my family and everyone else who expects gifts. So how do I get to wrap my mind around that this year? So these are beautiful questions. I have several questions, but those are the three main categories of the questions. How can I stay healthy during the holidays? This is physically, how can I stay? I usually gain a ton of weight, and then I just throw caution to the wind until January 1st, and I'll start my New Year's resolution. Well, I am not the guru, but I do stay pretty healthy. And I've been that guy who just threw caution to the wind physically. And just, you eat here and there's a party and people bringing snacks, there's chocolate, you name it, there's always something. And then there's a big old giant chocolate donuts, which hard to say no to those. And the way I typically have done it is, for years, what I would do is like, somebody will bring a bunch of donuts for breakfast and I'll eat it. And it's like, what the heck, I've already blown today. I'll just blow lunch, with snacks that night. Just, okay, I took care of this day. And then sometimes I would say, well, I blew it Friday. I might as well blow it this weekend. It'll be Monday. And then, okay, well, just forget the holidays. I'll just worry about eating healthy again in January. So that's how I did it for years. And then, the older you get, the harder it is to get over gaining some weight. So I've had to change for a number of years, and I did, and I feel so much better. So here are some things that I do that have drastically changed my world. Now, keep in mind, a number of years ago, I was working an awful lot. I was working probably 12 plus 15 hours a day. I was stressed, had a lot going on, fast food for a long time. And I got on a scale and I was 50 plus pounds overweight. And I thought, oh my gosh, I had no idea I'd gained that. But it took a year or two for me to do that. And so it'd been that long since I weighed. I got on the scale. It was April 1st. I forgot what year. And I thought, holy cow, I've got to do something. So I drastically changed my way of how I look at everything when it comes to health on that. But when it came to the holidays, my first big holiday, I had to change that. And here's what I do, a couple things that I do. Number one, just because I blow it on one meal, I no longer say, oh, I'm done for the day. So if I blow it on breakfast, I'm still going to try my best to do better at lunchtime. The next thing I do is, if I blow it for breakfast and lunch, I don't say, oh, okay, I'm just done for the day and I'll blow it that night. I don't do that. Or if it's Friday, oh, I just blew it for the weekend. I don't do that either. I take one meal at a time. Okay, I did terrible at that one. I'm going to do better the next one. And I don't and the more I tried to make myself feel guilty about it, the more I ate. So I don't really get bent out of shape. Well, if I blow it for a whole day, okay, I'm not going to blow it tomorrow. Just not going to blow it on the next meal. And there's the next thing I've done is, like, instead, if you brought so we've got this trailer that would come near our work, and they would make these big old giant donuts, and they're about that big, about as big as your head, and they have these huge pretzels, and you can't say no to those. Well, see, I could eat 4 or 5 of those by during the day before I go home. That could be my breakfast, a mid morning snack, a lunch, and I could do all that. Well, now instead of eating 4 of them and one of those big old giant pretzels, I might eat one, or I might eat instead of a whole pretzel, eat a half a pretzel. Or if I'm going to blow it for breakfast, instead of eating, you know, a ton or 5 sausage and biscuits or 4 or whatever, I might eat one or I might eat two. So I just eat. I try to eat a little less than I normally would. But and then it's the holidays. You want to eat the stuff, and a lot of it's not good for you. I did go to a party where somebody had all this really stuff, and then somebody had some kale salad. Well, if I have a choice between sausage balls and these cool little homemade cinnamon rolls, and this, and kale salad, well, kale salad is never going to win out. But I am going to eat fewer cinnamon rolls, fewer whatever that I eat. So there's one thing I do. I don't blow if I blow it one meal, I'm not going to blow it all of them. I'm not just going to write off the rest of the day, rest of the weekend, and I'm going to try to eat a little less. At Thanksgiving, instead of my plate being huge, I do a lot less. Instead of going back several times, I might go back one time. I just try to do it a little better. And I'm not trying to lose weight during the holidays. I'm just trying to not gain any or not gain much. And plus, I feel better by doing it this way. In addition to those two things, what I'll do is I don't wait. It's sort of the same thing if I blow it one day, not the next. I don't blow the whole. I don't say it right off the holidays either. I'm not going to say I'll eat whatever. I'll worry about losing weight with my New Year's resolution January 1st. Now, years I've done that, but guess how long does a New Year's resolution last? It doesn't. And plus, I would rather, if I have, I don't know, if you or anybody has to lose 20 pounds in January, I'd much rather lose 20 than 30 or 20 than 10. Yeah, I mean, 10 than 20. I don't want to add 10 more pounds to have to lose in January. And I've never not eaten that much at a meal and regretted it. I'm not going to do the old push it off the January thing either. Every day stands on its own. Every meal stands on its own. Now, here's another thing I've tried to do is not eat terribly late at night. I feel better when I don't eat late at night. And so after 8 or 9 o'clock, I try not to. It doesn't always work at Christmas time or Thanksgiving when you have all the good stuff, But then if our TV and all that, if we're going to watch movies in the basement, the kitchen is upstairs. So, I'm not going to bring the entire plate to the basement because I'll eat the entire plate. I can sit in my chair and watch a movie or whatever and eat a box of Pop-Tarts. Well, I can't eat it if it's not there. So that's helpful. Here's something else that I do year round, and I don't take off during the holidays, and that is I exercise every day. Now, I say that. There are some days where it just doesn't work out, traveling or whatever the case may be. But almost every day, I'll work out with the weights 3 days a week. I do some cardio almost every day for sure on the days I'm not lifting weights, that sort of thing. And I don't let up on the holiday. I don't let up when I travel either. I just say that's what I'm going to do. When I plan my day, like for me, I'll say I've got a meeting at 8, I've got this at 12, I've got a lunch meeting, whatever. I've got all these sort of things. Well, in that planning of the day and setting alarms on my phone, I plan when I am going to exercise. For example, I'm in the studio right now. After this, I'm going to exercise. And that's going to make a difference in you and I feel better and I don't eat as much when I exercise. So those are some of the ways that I try to stay healthy during the holidays. I don't try to eat less. I don't write off the whole holiday season. I don't let up on the exercising. Last thing that I try to do year round and in the holidays is I try not to drink sugar. Now, my mom makes the best homemade boiled custard on earth. If I've got that, I'm going to drink it. But I try to stay away from the soft drinks, even the diet drinks. I don't drink a lot of anything with sugar, and I don't drink the lemonade and all that sort of stuff. So I try to not drink sugar, and that makes me feel better as well. So I usually am drinking unsweet tea or water. Really, it's basically those two things the majority of the time. Now, some of you might drink a ton of alcohol. That's another thing that I don't. Some of the people who gain a lot of weight are not. It's not from drinking. If you have a drink or two here and there is one thing, but if you drink a bottle of wine 2 or 3 times a day or 10 on a weekend, that sort of thing, you're probably going to see that add up with all the sugar in it. The other thing that a lot of people do if you drink a lot of alcohol is the more you drink, the more you eat, and that adds to that too. So you probably want to keep an eye on that. So rather than drinking alcohol every single night during the holidays, maybe you do it like twice a week or once a week, or maybe just on the weekends. And obviously, you don't want to overdo it, and it's not healthy in any stretch of the imagination. So there are some things that I hope help you on the physical side. Now, the next one has to do with stressful on the mental side. I said the long travel, going to different houses, all the family dynamics. I've had questions about the drama in the family, and it's really how stressful all that is. So I'll share some things that we have done, and the first thing I'll share about the family dynamics and the stress and traveling and all that is you really need to do what's best for your family. Now, I'm not considerate of my parents or siblings or anything like that. I'm not saying that, but ultimately my responsibility is to my immediate family, and and if I'm making the holidays or allowing this time of year to be miserable for my wife or miserable for my kids, well, that's on me. You just don't. It doesn't have to be that way. So I'm starting to early on we started making decisions early on. For example, when our girls are really little and you wake up on Christmas morning and there's the gifts and you got somebody calling, when you coming, you got like, okay girls, hurry up and open your gifts and put them away, hurry up and get a dress, we got to run over here. Well, that's, who wants that? So we changed that and said, hey, we're going to wake up here and we're going to stay here. How about y'all come over here sometime whenever you feel like it, early morning, late morning, lunch, whatever you want to do. And everybody said, okay, we'll do that. And everybody was fine with it. So early on, we started doing what's best for everyone. And everybody won doing it that way. The other thing we do now, especially, communicate way ahead of time. So we're reaching out to this child and their families and whatever the case may be. And we got some married, not married. So we have the whole dynamics. And so we're communicating, girlfriends and all that. So we're communicating to everyone and trying to figure out what we're going to do. So like my daughter's in-law side of the family, they typically move Thanksgiving to a non-Thanksgiving day. And that works out great for everyone. And and they have lots of kids and all that too. So it works out where everybody wins that way. In our case, Thanksgiving stays on Thanksgiving and people come to our house or wherever we go. So that's, if you communicate, early on, we would go to more than one house on Thanksgiving. And let me tell you, we enjoyed seeing everybody, but, if you eat 2 or 3 Thanksgiving meals in a day, you are miserable. And it's not, if you want to say, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. Well, you're going to hurt somebody's feelings if you try to do that. Not your family's going to be miserable doing it. The other thing that you do is whoever is in charge of the last meal of the day, you're going to hurt their feelings because they spent all this time planning and preparing and late nights and early mornings at big old feast, and you're not even hungry, you're not even going to eat it. That's going to hurt their feelings. So if you think you can just do it all and pretend nobody's feelings gets hurt, well, then you live in la la land. So what you can do is communicate. And you'll be surprised how many people are willing to move their holiday to a different day because it's more enjoyable. Another part of that is, we'd have to go to one house and hurry up, and then we've got to hurry up and go to the next one. And so everybody's in a hurry or you can't really sit down and visit. But if you move things around where everybody is at, as I say, we're at one set of this family for the entire day. We can get there at a leisurely hour. We can enjoy a meal. enjoy seconds, 500 desserts, and then enjoy conversation afterwards, or whoever falls asleep on the couch, and then we can go home whenever, depending on the age of your kids or however that works out. Nice. So much nicer. But you're going to have to present that. Now, you may have somebody in your family that's completely against that, but you may have some others that will be open to moving things around. And it may be you having to suggest it. Now, this year, for example, we're moving Christmas around so that it would work for other people, and it just kind of works that around. So we backed our Christmas world up a couple of days, and then everybody's going to win. Everybody's going to be here, and then everybody's going to go there, and it's just going to be so much more peaceful. I think you might shock you if you did that. We do have friends that sometimes this has worked out well, sometimes it hasn't. But this is I'm just tossing this out there, where they have more than one child, so all those children are married, and they either bring everybody in on Thanksgiving this year, and they bring everybody in on Christmas next year, and it kind of rotates that way. But that means that the mom and dad are by themselves every other one of those holidays. But the advantage is that all the kids are there, and there's not a lot of coming and going. I can only stay half a day or half day, and we got to fly out tomorrow, kind of thing. When they've taken advantage of the times they have no kids in the house, and they'll take a trip somewhere. They'll fly to a Caribbean island or whatever the case may be. So there's been some good to that, but they've also said, it's kind of weird being at home by yourself as well without any kids, knowing you have that many. So they battled that a little bit, but overall, I think there's been a lot of good that has come from that. So there's some of those things. Now I want to touch on this, and that is the travel. Make the travel part of the fun. Now, if you're going to drive 6 hours, 9 hours, whatever, to whoever's house, I know how guys are. I know, and it's not just guys. Sometimes it's the wives, but it's guys that were, it's like, get in the car, nobody drink. Everybody's got to get in the car dehydrated. We're going to drive. We're going to stop one time for gas. You can't drink anything, so you can't eat, because then that'll make you thirsty. We're going to go 100 miles an hour till we get there, and then we're going to get there. Well, now, guys, you may pat yourself on the back, and you're going to, as soon as you get there, have a beer and tell everybody what a great time you made, but you've made everybody miserable in the process. It ain't worth it. Trust me, it's not worth it. For years, I've always made the journey part of the fun. I mean, there's a rest area. If we leave our house about 12 minutes away, there's a rest area on the interstate. We've stopped there before. Drink as much as you want, eat all you want. We'll stop all day long. I don't care. We're gonna have fun. We're gonna play games. We're gonna do whatever it is that anybody. It's going to be fine, no matter the age of our kids. And guess what? When you're driving 100 miles an hour, and you made your family miserable, I got there an hour after you. But guess what? My family looked forward to the trip. We had fun. This wasn't miserable. Nobody was dehydrated. We were relaxed. We were laughing. We're laughing when we get there. But you get there an hour before us, but everybody's miserable in the process. So I really suggest you just take a big old deep breath, guys. Take a big old deep breath. Take your time. Pass out the Gatorades around. Give them the snacks. Watch the movies. Somebody has to stop 5 times. They have to stop 5 times. It's really not. You're going to be at Grandma's house for 7 days. 1 hour, you get there a little later than you'd wish. Over 7 days, over 100 and something hours. Who cares? Anyway, that's my suggestion. Last question. I never have enough money for Christmas, and with all this inflation, it's only getting worse. It's hard to provide, let alone to buy gifts for family and everyone else expecting gifts. I need some help this year. Okay. So, I get this. Man, we've been dirt poor, and we've been where we didn't know we were going to buy Christmas presents, and I ran into so many people who what they'll do is they'll put the Christmas on a credit card. They'll spend the next several months paying off Christmas. Then they'll put their summer vacation on credit card. They'll spend the next several months paying on that, and then you get back to Christmas. But it never gets down to zero, and the balance tends to grow over years until one day they're in trouble. So here's what I love this topic because for some reason we as parents have put on us that we're not real parents if we don't provide a bunch of gifts for our presents, or we got to, or for our kids, or we have to keep up with. Oh, how hard is it going to be when my son doesn't get anything and he goes to school and finds out that all those kids got a new whatever. I'll just share with you this: putting your family in a financial bind is totally irresponsible. You can worry about what somebody else thinks, or you can do what's best for your family. And if I think it is the weakest of weak when you're more concerned about what else thinks than what your family thinks or what's best for your family. I would never go in debt for Christmas. I would never recommend you do that ever. Don't go in debt for Christmas. If you don't have the money, this is just going to be a year where people don't get a lot. It's okay. I've had to sit our family down and say, you know what? It's going to be a slim Christmas. And it was a slim Christmas. Everybody's okay. But I'm sure not going to. You know what's crazy is, okay, we're in a bind anyway. So much in a bind that we can't buy gifts, and now I want to go in debt at a high interest rate to put ourselves in a worse shape. Makes no sense to me. It's okay to make something and give away. It's okay to tell your family, hey, tough year. You don't have to buy us anything, but we're not going to be able to buy gifts this year. It's okay to make something, make a meal, or make those Chex Mix or nuts and bolts, whatever you call them in your family. It's okay to make fudge and pass out. It's okay to put them in jars and do something cheap for everybody. It's okay to do all. It's okay to not do anything. It's okay to do handwritten cards and say, hey, my gift to you is this card and me telling you how much I love you and appreciate you and what you mean over the years. They'll have that card 20 years from now. That shirt or those socks or whatever it is, that toy you gave them, it'll be gone in a year. But they'll still have that card. There is no shame. There is no shame in doing what's best for your family financially and not going into debt or doing just to look good in front of somebody else. And if your kids get a little embarrassed at school, guess what? It's going to be for a few minutes, and then they're not going to be embarrassed anymore. And that's a good teaching point for them. Man, isn't it? What a teaching moment for your children to say, hey, when you have no money, then you're not going to go in debt and pay a high interest rate for stuff that you don't even need anyway. You're going to do what's best for your family, and you're teaching your children that, and they're watching that in action. So that's a good lesson for your children. So what if your children want something that you can't afford, and you go and look at the budget and say, you know what, I could get this and have it paid off in 6 months? No, I would not do that. What if it's no interest for 12 months? No, if you can't afford it, you can't afford it. So don't do that either. And when you get ready to, some of this might be, you know what, we always travel to whoever's house for the holidays, and that puts you in a bind, and you're going to put the gas and all the extra travel on a credit card. It would be okay to call them and say, hey, we honestly cannot afford to come this year. We're going to stay home this year. It's okay. Everybody's going to be okay. Now, if you're going to a rich person's house, they may say, hey, no problem. It's okay not to go there for the holidays. I promise you everybody will be okay. So the main thing is your family's most important. If you are having struggles financially, who doesn't, then the last thing you need is to go in further debt. And plus it's stressful on you. And you go into the holidays, and 10 minutes after the presents are open, you're on to something else. It's like, man, you went in debt for stuff, and 10 minutes later, they're outside doing something or doing something different, and it's like it didn't even happen. So it's just not worth it. And I think people respect you when you do make decisions, especially your children. They respect you when you do what's best for your family. Okay, I hope this helps. We're talking about the holidays, how to stay healthy physically, how to stay healthy mentally, and how to stay healthy financially. These are some really good ways that I think will change your holidays, keep you healthier. And I think what I like about staying healthy physically, mentally, and financially is that's what's best for your marriage. It is when you're stressed out because there's physical issues or mental issues or stress issues or financial issues, it's really hard to take time and enjoy your marriage and be who you need to be to your spouse and to your children when those things are going on. So if you can keep those things under control, it will truly make a difference in your marriage. I hope this helps.